Hey guys, this is Miko here. If you were trying to get Magnify to work last patch and having a lot of difficulties doing so, I made a tool that will be able to help you a lot today. Magnify had a tendency to flip-flop between whatever stats that you wanted and the stats that you wanted to stay to kind of be alone, and it made it very, very difficult to actually get to your desired stat split. They're going to be improving this experience a bit, and if you have an even stat split, Magnify will split down the middle. But if you have a stat split that favors one more than the other, you might get these unforeseen circumstances where Magnify flip-flops back and forth and you're just going to be overall spending more time in this attribute screen than you want to. So I made a tool that should help speed that process up for you that I'm going to be going over today. In terms of like why you would want Magnify from a high level, Magnify is contained on a bunch of actual named drops in the new world for this up and coming expansion, and then you could change the last perk on these named drops to be whatever you wanted. So for example, you can get Grit Ward, Refreshing, and Health as this last perk, which is like a pretty good drop just from farming the Sun Lord's piece, which is very, very helpful. Also, artifacts all contain Magnify, so you need to know how this mechanic works and how to navigate around this in any case in order to get to the desired stat split that you will want. This will be both necessary in PvE and in PvP. It's not exclusive to one. Magnify is here to either plague all of our lives and make ourselves kind of hate it, or maybe we'll just find a way to kind of navigate around it and for it to just be better. And I think this tool will help you a lot, at least at the beginning, until you kind of get the feeling for how it works under your belt. So in terms of like what this tool actually does, you basically just enter in the stats that you see on screen into base stats. You put in your desired stats, whatever you want, and then it will output what you need to actually do to your in-game character. In terms of walking through that a lot slower, you look here on the right, this points available, this will map to points available on here. You look at something like intelligence. Intelligence will map to intelligence right over here on base stats. You look at something like con, it will map over. You get the idea. You just need to copy paste those stats that you see there over to the left. The one thing you do have to take to consider with this tool is you need to take out the actual magnify itself. So the amount of magnify that you have, you need to remove that from whatever stats you put in here because that magnify is going to be flip-flopping back and forth, and we need to like kind of isolate that in order for this tool to work. You also should put in any stats here that you gain for something like a food buff, like this purple thing here. This is plus 40 con food, so I need to put that in my constitution as well because that constitution, a con food will apply before the magnify does, and it will take precedence. So it's important to take that into consideration before we decide where our magnify is going to go. That also means if your con food wears out after you use this tool, everything will change, which sucks, but since such is the life of being a magnify enjoyer and something that we're going to have to figure out how to navigate around, either take advantage of, or it's just going to be kind of annoying for us overall. So once you have these base stats entered in, you're going to want to enter in desired stats. This is just whatever stats you want. So for this example, I want 200 int, 50 focus, 350 con. Enter in those. This tool will spit out what stats you need to allocate. So 133 int, 19 focus, 26 constitution. Those stats will be what you need to input. They will be this like kind of under the actual uh, numbers themselves. There will be like this little green thing that pops up, and that's the number that you need to match to the stats to allocate. You can see an example down here. So 133 maps to 133, 19 maps to 19, 26 maps to 26, etc. Then magnify will take effect, and you'll get the stat split that you want. In terms of like some examples for how you'd actually do this yourself, say that you were a PvEer and you were trying to do like an M3 and you wanted 250 strength, you wanted 200 dex, and then you wanted something like 50 con. Reality, you'd be able to get more con, but like say for the example, this is the stat split that you wanted. You would realize that you're not able to do this if you have 3 artifact pieces because the stat split here is not great enough between this 100 or 250 and this 200 con. So you would need to increase this amount here to be something that is over 102 away. So I would need to go to 302, for example, and then the tie would go to strength in this case. This would be a possible thing to use. And then the stats it actually would need to allocate is 195 to strength, dex, and then 45 to con because you start off with a base of 5. So if you want to get to 50, you just need to put in 45. It would be the idea. This tool will work, but you will have to kind of mess with it a little bit if you're trying to use named items that change your stats themselves. But another example that will bring that up perfectly is the Abyss. So the Abyss is a named Great Axe, which is very, very powerful next patch. Seems to be one of the best weapons in the game from both honestly a PvE and a PvP standpoint. It's an int scaling weapon, which means it benefits from all the int nodes. And turns out int nodes are very, very good and will let you do about 20 to 30% more damage than any other Great Axe build in the game, which is just fantastic. So in order to kind of use this weapon more effectively, we'll want to be getting to probably 300 int, 300 con. That 300 con will gain us grit. That 300 int will give us a 10% damage boost. So those are both really good thresholds. But also, if we get to 25 strength, that will make our light attacks do 5% more damage per, which is really, really nice. If you notice this here, you're not going to be able to get this naturally because you don't have enough points available to actually allocate to get to this split as well as magnify taking effect. This number here, this 244 plus 224 plus 20, that is bigger than 498, so you're not going to be able to take advantage of that. So one thing that we can do to compensate that for the more advanced example here being the Abyss is you use an armor artifact that actually gives you increased stats. There are two armor artifacts that give you increased stats. One example is the attuned leather pants. Another example is the gray wizard hat. Although the gray wizard hat seems like a very, very big meme of an artifact, this is the one part that's actually useful is it gives you 45 int. This is compared to something else that would be in that helm category that would give you 32. So you're getting an extra 13 stats for using this gray wizard hat, which could be used here to better effect. So if we were to increase our stats itself for this case by 13, so we do 498 plus 13, then this would be actual possible to split, and then we would do 20 strength, 244 int, 244 focus. So you get the idea. That's how you kind of two walkthroughs of how you'd actually use this tool itself. Overall, I hope this is a little bit easier for you guys to use and might not be something that's super helpful right now, but I'd bookmark this and kind of like watch it back in terms of the expansion day itself. This information is also contained in the Discord. If you go to my Discord into resources, we have a lot of cool things there. So this is the where you can actually see all those kind of BIS named items that I was showing off earlier. So you can look through those, see which ones you kind of like there, which is kind of nice. And then we have some other stuff, some like fancy calculators. This Magnify one though will be very, very useful come expansion day. I hope you guys find that useful. If you are not subscribed, please do, because only about 25% of people that watch these videos are subbed, and we're on the road to getting more of those. And I will see you guys later.